thank you guys for clicking on the video. I am Sully, and today, fellas, we're going to talk about drugs and alcohol, and we're going to get into how to approach them in the Manhood series. And let me just first say, I know you guys are probably rolling your eyes, and you're like, Sully, we know that, you're a Christian. You're probably going to say, like, everything's bad, don't do anything. But no, I actually think marijuana should be legal. Some of you are like, oh my gosh, it's like Inception to some of you. But I can go into that commentary later. The gist of it is that I don't think there's a legitimate argument against marijuana being illegal and alcohol staying legal. I think now some people are going to be like, well, are you for heroin and coke and all this other stuff being legal? No, shut up. Use your thinking cap, sir. All right? No, I don't think everything in the world should be legal. I'm just saying that I think in the proper context, marijuana should be legal. That's all I'm going to say. With that, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. We're going to jump into this thing. All right. Sorry about that. I just want to talk about drugs and alcohol. And this could be a hobby commentary, but I want to focus specifically on drugs and alcohol. I think drugs and alcohol, I don't smoke weed. I don't do it, and I do drink, I have my scotch, I have my Molson. You guys, in the stream, or guys who play club with me know I'll have a beer or two. And I think there's a thing to be said about pursuing drugs and alcohol with the intent of escaping your problems or going to them for comfort, because drugs and alcohol will never reject you. A needle will not say, no sir, I will not pump this fluid into you, not today, sir. Coke will say, no, that suction up your nose, I will not go up there. They will never turn you away. I think in a practical sense, there's something very powerful to that in a level of never facing rejection. Because I struggle with it. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't. I do. I struggle with rejection. And I think there's something comforting, as whether it's a hobby or whether it's a drug or alcohol, that will never turn you away. There's something, I think, innately attractive to a human about something never rejecting you. And that's how I feel, and I feel that can be partially the attraction to alcohol or drugs when you're escaping your problems. And the issue when you do that, even as men, or if you're a lady watching this, one of the problems is that it never affects just you. Now, you may say, Sully, I drink sometimes and it doesn't affect anyone. Well, I'm talking about in the sense of pursuing your, escaping your problems. And typically when you escape your problems, you do things in excess. All right, you never just start out. A person who's pursuing their escaping their problems never goes to a bar and is like, yep, I'm just having one shot, that's all. Yep, I'm good after that. Typically it's like 2, 3, 4, whatever gets you off the rocker. People go in excess, and I think whenever you go in excess, people are concerned. They worry about you, and why they worry is because they're there for you. But I think, and I do this too, so I don't have it down, so don't think I'm coming down on any of you that do this. But I think when people worry, they want you to communicate what's going on. But I think when I don't communicate, it's because I think the other person may not understand, or they did something wrong against me. Either way, when I go through that situation, I come out on the other end, that person was just there caring for me and wanting to know what was up. And it could have been worked out and didn't need to get into a bigger situation, but because of my miscommunication, it did. I think with drugs and alcohol, sometimes now this is in the context, again guys, I want to remind you, this is in the context of pursuing it in excess to escape your problems. I'm not talking about going out Friday with friends and just drinking. I'm talking about pursuing it in excess to eliminate your problems. I think we do have people there that want to help, that want to listen, but I think we perceive that they're not there. And whenever you're in pain, you want I think for me at least, you want a person to come to your aid and pick you up and say, it's gonna be all right. The problem is typically, for me, I don't communicate that very well. And I think we all have people in our life that want to pick us up, but we may need to take that extra step to say, hey man, I'm hurting right now. going through some rough time, and admit our faults and admit that we're hurting and we're tempted by, just going out and drinking, because for that moment we'll be free of that problem, but in the long run we're going to wake up and it's still going to be facing us. And I think communicating is huge to eliminate that temptation of wanting to drink excessively or do drugs to escape your problems, because at the end of the day, it's easier to go talk to someone when you're sober than it is to find you sprawled out over the toilet throwing up, or coming at home high off crack or whatever, and then you have to deal with the emotional problem and the alcohol or the drugs, and it snowballs into something bigger. And when they say you shouldn't do the alcohol, then it turns into you're against me, and it just snowballs, and it's never a healthy situation. And I think, as for men or for ladies, I think in some capacity we're all expected to lead. We're also supposed to be an example to others, and I think there's leadership in humility, and I think humility is a strong suit and a strong characteristic, because I think today, there's all this music and all this stuff that says, it's all me, I'm strong, I can take on whatever, I don't need no one. That message is being pumped very, very strongly to you guys, I think, and that message is a very false message, because any great man has solid people around him. Any great woman has strong women around them, and there's strength in numbers. I think we're turning into a Call of Duty society where we think one guy takes on the masses and he wins the victory. It's not like that. That's not real life. And there's strength in numbers, and there's leadership in saying, I can't take on all of this, guys. I need you to help me out. And that's my next topic, is going to talk about friends, because friends is crucial to not going into drugs and alcohol as an escape. It's crucial. If you don't have people, then pretty much if you're going through a problem alone, that's the fall, is that drugs and alcohol are going to be right there waiting for you. And when you have no one else, that's looking like your best friend, since day one, and we're seeing no new friends. Anyways, that's another topic for another day. But again, it goes back to, if you don't have a good support system, then it's drugs and alcohol look very appealing. And that's why when I transition over into, we're going to talk about things that men should have, community and strong brothers is the number one thing to be a strong man, is you have to have a great support system. But again, let's recap with drugs and alcohol. I think when you pursue them as an escape and as an excess, it's hurting you. It hurts you in the aspect physically, but mentally, you may escape that problem for that night, but again, you're going to wake up and it's still facing you, and that problem will torment you even more, because you'll think about last night, what you did, and it'll create a snowball effect. It affects the people around you, because there are people that care for you. I just think, for me, I got to open my eyes to see them a little bit. I got to open my eyes a little bit more up in this mother love. I might need glasses even, but you got to see the people who are there for you, who care for you. They are there. You just might need to take that extra step. And I know sometimes at the end of the day, you're just like, Sully, I can't go another day. I can't lift another finger because I got things going on. But man, you got to dig deep. I'm telling you, having friends there for you that will support you is much better than turning to drugs or alcohol. We also need to recap that drugs and alcohol affect the other people around you, communication, and lastly, I think we also need to remember that if you turn to drugs and alcohol in excess, you will one day need to fight that off, and that will just be another problem that you will need to face. And if you're turning to drugs and alcohol, you should want to minimize the problems, not add to them. And that's the great thing about alcohol and drugs. They cloak themselves as a friend, and so they're a very strong temptation. But let me just recap in saying this, guys. This episode's coming down to a close. The curtain's dropping, but I just want to say, this commentary is not talking about people who go out Friday night with friends and have a beer, or have a few drinks. I'm not talking to those people. So don't misinterpret this commentary as saying, oh, Sully thinks that you shouldn't go out and stuff. What I'm saying this to people who pursue drugs and alcohol as an escape to their problems. And guess what, guys? This can be applied to any hobby too. It doesn't have to be drugs and alcohol, but I wanted to focus on drugs and alcohol with this. But again, if you pursue working out is nothing wrong in and of itself, but when it becomes an escape and you're doing it 8 hours a day, there's a problem with that, and that does actually hurt your body. Your body's not meant to go 8 hours a day working out. And so, you know, don't just think this applies to drugs and alcohol. You may have a hobby you do as an escape, and guess what? That's going to have ramifications if you do it long enough. So, hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. Hope you guys enjoyed your day. Have a great day. I'm Sully, and I'm out. Deuces.